I've not seen this, so we're watching this together as friends on the internet.
So I'll just start with some catch up on the Kiwi farms for the early listeners who are the most invested in these things. I've been busy updating the Kiwi farms over the last 2 weeks, which was very good timing because the 4chan thing happened and we're up about a couple thousand users, daily logins a day, and our guest count is about 500 to 1,000, even a week out. So I don't know if that'll stay after 4chan comes back up. It might, which would be nice. It would be a nice little bump for the forum. A lot of people are happy that a lot of the off-topic areas of the site are seeing more activity. That's always a good thing because, as I've said before, when a forum like ours has a very specific purpose, if there's slow weeks, then it's bad for the community unless there are some off-topic areas for people to participate in. So I'm always open to fostering that side of the site. And it causes fewer problems for us too. So you can basically grow the off-topic section forever, and you're not gonna bump into too many problems from the outside, as opposed to the on-topic board, which always the on-topic board and articles and happenings, which always causes more problems. So here's my plan. Okay, let me just show you. I don't have this lined up, but I'll pull it up anyways. So this is my plan. I have discovered that there exists a machine called the Remote Deposit Capture. And this is a bank issued machine that creates a private VPN secured connection to the bank. And basically, what you do is you feed it checks, it automatically assumes that those checks are good, and then it deposits them into your bank account immediately. So, many banks across the United States, almost all of them, I would guarantee you, have a way to set up an automatic bill payment system by check. So I am going to ask that people in the future, I'm still setting this up, but I'm just letting you know what the plan is. What they'll do is they'll go to their bank and they'll set up a bill payment system to the P.O. Box in South Charleston, West Virginia. And they'll set the amount and add a little identifier, and the identifier will not be public. Only you will have access to this, and then the guy who handles the mail will just feed those checks into the RDC machine. The bill pay ID that you put onto the memo line will activate a benefit for your account, and the money will be deposited. And this is the closest thing that I can think of to an automated payment system that does not use any credit card system, any ACH. It has no underwriting process whatsoever. As long as there's a bank in the United States that accepts checks, which is all of them, then we are federally insured that they will deposit those checks. It is the law. The bank cannot revoke or refuse to deposit your checks. So once the check's there, it's mine. And I've really sat down because there's lots of ideas that people have kicked me like, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And I'll sit down and I'll run it through the negative Nancy 9000 machine and try to find any possible issue that could arise. And I've really sat down. I've really thought about this. There are a couple things I can imagine, but they're basically, most importantly, they're outside the control of a tranny. A tranny really doesn't know wouldn't have the ability to really do anything about this. And if you decide to with the system, if you start writing bad checks, that's a felony. That's an actual financial fraud. And the things that you can do like that, they have repercussions in real life. So it's no longer just a game of like complaining to whoever. I think it's a solid system. I am debating what to do both for the perks and for the price because those things inform each other. I am trying to get 300 people to do $40. That's my original goal. I think that's doable. A lot of people complain that $40 a month is too high, which was kind of the point because I wanted fewer people getting better rewards. But I might go down to 200 or $20 because there's enough interest where that should be doable. But if those numbers hold true, when they consistently, I think, based on the merchandise runs, these numbers that show up on these polls are actually a little bit less. So if it works, then that opens a ton of doors for me. I can afford better hardware because we're struggling. I haven't been able to update the server in years. I can maybe even afford to hire people for help to do certain things. I can afford to focus on the forum rewrite full time. It would be awesome. It would be really, really fucking awesome if that works out. And most importantly, it gives me, because it's an automated thing, it gives me a foundation to look at and be like, this is my income level, and I can plan around that. And right now, I can't really do that. It's all over the fucking place. It's whatever Stripe wants it to be that month, you know. It's whatever somebody feels like manually doing by crypto at that specific time. So, optimistic. I'm trying to get this done before next week. I have to go get the RDC machine. I have to figure out how its outputs look so I can write the code. But in general, the way that it works, I've really thought this through, and there was a better idea that came along that would automate it 100% online, but I didn't go with them because of security reasons. In particular, their API, it can trigger charges, but it also allowed reads, and there wasn't finite control over their API. So if there was a hack, that would expose information. So I've foregone better alternatives, faster alternatives than what I'm planning to do, in the sake of absolute maximizing security and privacy. So the way that it works is that you'll have a number on your account. Nobody else can see this number except you. You'll put that number on the check. The check will go through. It will be deposited. The person who manages the mail will have no ability whatsoever, because it's an automated system that I'm writing that will be executable on his computer that runs that data and causes the upgrades. So he'll have no idea what account is getting the upgrade from what check. And then best practices for the bank actually physically inspects the office where the RDC capture machine is present, and they have policies in terms of data retention. So the checks must be destroyed per their policies. And he's already certified to do this with a different company. Sheerly coincidentally, like I didn't even know this was a thing. And I mentioned it to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I already do that." I'm like, "Great, wonderful, how serendipitous." So the bank actually physically inspects the office to make sure that there's not like loose checks laying around, that things are being shredded in accordance to the protocol. So literally as secure as it possibly fucking gets, and it's automated. And after the initial setup, which takes like 10 minutes, then you never have to think about it again. So super optimistic, chat. But I've been optimistic before. We'll see. Okay, like, yeah, I guess he could like keep the scans, but the issue is if you have a list of names and then you don't have any accounts to associate them with, like, okay, you know, John Doe sent in $20 to the LLC, but what's his account? You know, what's the maximum possible damage of that? And I think that that's very little. And if he does that, that's in violation of consumer privacy laws. That's like a felony. That's like 20 years in jail or some shit. It's like a big fucking deal to steal information off of checks. Because back in the day, we actually had financial regulations. Like when checks were a thing, we implemented a bunch of laws in regards to check fraud and writing bad checks and copying information. And then after, you know, MasterCard, Visa card took over, we just like, oh, you know, do whatever the fuck you want. It's open field day. We don't have any rules anymore. So that's my main thing is like, yeah, there's a certain level of trust involved here, but there are actual, like, I know his social security number because he's a person that is allowed to access banking information from the LLC account. So it's like, my level of confidence in this is extremely high. This is not like random internet people that I don't know doing things for me. This is like people that I can go shoot. Push come to shove. So if I sound a little bit flippant, I'm not. I've really thought this through. Okay. That's stupid.